just pointing out the way humans unconsciously hear this note. Nah, pissed. So that we can become more conscious about it and practice it more intentionally. The Batman note. What the hell does Batman have to do with jazz? That's what we're going to discuss today. We are going to listen to this note. We're going to get to know its emotion. We're going to do some body movement work to get beneath interval ear training. Okay, Miles, what's happening, man? We're going to get below interval ear training. We're not going to compare this to any songs as far as intervals go. We're going to listen to some other music, right? So you can understand that I'm not just talking about ideas in my head, that I'm trying to point out emotions and colors that we all hear unconsciously. I'm just shining a flashlight on it. So I'm going to show how this note is used the way that I'm trying to point out its emotion is here, how it's used in music you would have heard before. Okay, that all of us are using these notes and these emotions. We just, for the most part, don't recognize the power they have. Okay, so all I'm trying to do is turn the lights on so we can see what we're all hearing already, discuss it, practice it more intentionally, and get it into our lines. So we're going to check it out. We're going to do some ear training and some listening, some body movement, facial expression work to really like internalize the emotion of this note, discuss a little bit of the theory about it, and then hopefully we should have some time to put this note over a few different chords and hear how it moves melodically. So the Batman note is my name for the tension flat 6. If you want to grab the PDF, you'll see the G major triad, GBD, with an E flat note added. E flat is the flat 6 of the G triad. And when we add that E flat note against a G triad, it's going to behave like a melodic tension note that wants to pull back down into the G triad. Here's good old-fashioned G major. Right, can you hear it? Very natural sounding. Should be very natural sounding. Okay, so this is a quadratonic. If you're new with us, triad with one tension note added. It's not just a scale. I call it a quadratonic because pentatonic is a 5-note scale, quadratonic is a 4-note scale, but it's a lot more than just a 4-note scale. It's a 4-note scale where 3 of the notes are very in and resolved, and one of them is a problem creator, a troublemaker. Okay, its whole purpose in life is to create emotion and drama and struggle because it is not as in and stable as the triad is. So when we throw it out there, it's going to want to create movement through time to bring us back into the triad. There's only 9 quadratonics when we're working with a major triad, right? Because we only have 12 notes in all of music. If 3 of them are making up a major triad, then there's only 9 remaining notes. Each one of those tension notes is going to have its own unique personal emotion, its own color. So we can do ear training that helps us identify on an emotional level how a certain note feels. Like I feel scared, I feel happy, I feel sad, I feel excited, where we don't have to compare it to anything. So this note has the feeling of vengeance to me. You might hear it differently, by all means. This is about creating a personal relationship with a particular sound. There's only 9 sounds. So if you hear it differently, go with that, but I'm going to show you how I hear it. I hear it as vengeance. I hear it as someone who's been wronged, like severely wronged, and is out for justice. Pure and simple. Like it is pissed, and it's going to let you know about it, and it's going to get its vengeance. Even though we're working with a major triad, it still has a very intense sound. Why I call it the Batman note. Dude saw his parents killed when he was a little kid and then went psycho, and now he dresses up as a bat and runs around in the shadows beating people up. Like, he's lost his mind and all he wants is vengeance and justice. That's it. I will point out a few kind of famous songs and soundtracks where we see this note being used in plots and stories that help convey this emotion. Okay, again, this is not just me being insane and way too OCD about analyzing everything. I'm just pointing out the way humans unconsciously hear this note and use this note so that we can become more conscious about it and practice it more intentionally. I've pointed out a couple of sort of metaphysical things about music in the last handful of lessons that I want to bring back up because I think it helps explain the theory of this note. One of them is the power of the root and the fifth. Okay, 1-5, 1-5. It's like a seesaw. The root note, the tonic of a scale, is like the gravitational pull that holds everything down. It's literally the root note. It roots it into reality. It gives it a sensation of stability and completion. Right? When we play the root note, it's just, that's my movement for the root note. Like I'm just planting my foot into the ground. Like I'm home. I'm not going anywhere. Versus the fifth, it's like being lifted up into the air. The fifth is like a structural column that lifts everything up against gravity, away from gravity. Fifth and root. Okay, fifth root. I also pointed out, you may have seen it when we were talking about the tension flat 2, which I call the Dracula note. I talk about it there. I talked about it, I think it was in that lesson. Maybe it was in the 4, the sharp 4. But half steps in Western music, half steps are where all of the intense passion and craving of humanity exist. Everything is in the half step when it comes to intense emotions. A whole step is cool. A whole step wants to move. Nothing wrong with whole steps, but half steps, whew, watch out for those half steps. That's why the leading tone of a major scale, why even non-musicians can hear that the leading tone wants to go up. Like it's just completely natural. Or why the natural 4 wants to resolve down to the 3rd. Everybody, even non-musicians, can hear a sus4 chord resolving to a major chord and understand it on a visceral level, that it just makes sense. Okay, we crave that movement. Tension flat 6 is a half step above the 5th, right? So that's why, on like a music theory level, why the flat 6 is such an intense note, because it's right above a very stable note. The 5th is very stable, okay, very consonant. It's a structural column for the harmony, for the key, for the chord, for whatever we're working with. Miguel, what's up, man? Gary, the theme from The Search for Spock really brings out the flat 6. I don't know that one, but you'll have to play for me sometime, or I'll look it up maybe when I'm done teaching this lesson. It's all over the place. All over the place. I'm going to point a couple of them out. Dickie, what's up, man? So the flat 6 is a half step above the 5th, and the 5th is a stable note. So there's a very intense longing for the flat 6 to come down. And here's what's interesting for those of you who watched the Dracula note lesson, the tension flat 2. The flat 2 is very intense. Okay, it really wants to pull down to the tonic also, because it's a half step above the root. But it's in the shadows. It's hiding. Like, it doesn't want you to know what it's up to. Right? Listen, here's the flat 2. It's like Dracula in the shadows with his like cape pulled up over his face, and all you can see are his eyes. Like, he doesn't want to be recognized. He wants to hunt in the dark. Versus tension flat 6, lay, for those of you who are solfege fans out there, lay wants to be seen. Okay? Lay is pissed, and he knows that he's right. And he wants that giant bat symbol floating up in the clouds all night. Like, he wants everybody to know he's there. He might be doing his dirty work in dark alleys, but he's not joking around about it. Like, he is proud of his work. Okay? The root note pulls us down. It's gravity. It's literally grounding the sound. So the tension flat 2 is like being pulled down here. So the fifth is all about lifting everything up. It's the attention getting note, right? If you watch the news, very often the soundtrack to these big, like, 24-hour news networks, you'll hear like a pedaling note on the fifth of whatever the chord or the scale is, because the fifth has no emotion so much as it is just, hey, pay attention. Something important's about to happen. It's lifting you up, right? So that we can put you back down on the ground. It's like a wrestler picking someone up so they can body slam them. So the tension flat 6 is a half step above that feeling of being lifted up. So we have this intense mixing of human desire, of need to move, mixed on top of the fact that it needs to move to a place that's all about getting attention. Right? If you go to a wedding, test this out. Next time you're at a wedding and everybody's sitting down and all of a sudden the band starts playing. Everybody, even non-musicians, will stand up and they'll turn around because they know, unconsciously, they understand that when they hear that fifth, it's cueing them, hey, something important's about to happen, which means the bride's coming out. Like, who taught us that? I don't know. You don't even have to hear the first interval. You just hear that one note. Right? Watch any old, like, Renaissance era period movie, and when the king comes out to greet his villagers, he's got the trumpeters, and they're all vamping on that fifth. There's something very noble about it. It's like, hey, pay attention. Something important's coming. Tension flat 6 is the human desire floating above that important note. Okay? So it's all about vengeance. It's all about attention, and it wants to pull down to the fifth. Pissed. Okay? The fifth is like very noble. This is my movement for the fifth, and I strongly urge you to act like an idiot with me and do this, especially when no one's around and you're not streaming live on a video for the entire world to watch. There's the fifth, right? You guys probably recognize that, Star Wars. Something important's coming, right? It's very strong, it's very sturdy. The flat 6 to me is like almost the exact same movement, but now it's like head tilted back, looking up at God, screaming. Like, how could you let this terrible thing happen? Right? Phantom of the Opera. Talk about a character who's been wronged severely. Phantom of the Opera. 8 Mile, for those of you, the Venn diagram of jazz fans overlapping with Eminem fans. Right? That whole movie is about the fact that his entire life he's been wronged, and he's getting ready. He's preparing to get on stage. It's not just about getting revenge. It's about getting revenge in, like, dramatic fashion. Like, he wants to get on stage and take on every single person, one after the next, after the next, after the next. Like, this shit is real. I'm not just making this stuff up. Like, go watch movies. Watch Batman. I never remember how to play it, but if you watch pretty much any Batman movie, but certainly the Christopher Nolan trilogy, you'll hear this flat six all over the soundtrack. In fact, as a general rule, the flat six is the most commonly used mode mixture note in Western music and classical music. Go back to Beethoven and all that stuff. We use the flat six. It shows up time and time again when we're dealing with major keys because it's such a hip note, right? It gives us the minor four if you're in the key of G major. Right? It gives us the sound of a C minor chord because it's E flat. So we get C minor. Such a great note. We get A half diminished or A diminished. Can you hear it in there? It's in the middle right now with this particular inversion. And then we also get A flat. That E flat note, that tension flat six, shows up in all of those chords, and all of them get used a ton in Western classical music because they sound amazing. So what does this have to do with playing jazz vocabulary? We can insert this into a major triad, gives us a quadratonic. We get lines like we played yesterday. Major, and I'm playing a G major triad, tension flat six. But you can hear that E flat wants to pull down, right? E flat wants to resolve down to D, but I'm playing a C minor chord, C minor major. So that means the third of C minor major wants to resolve down to the 9. So by understanding the basic anatomy, the DNA of this quadratonic scale, we can manipulate the chord tones, if you will, of a C minor chord. We can make it where the 9 is stronger and more in than the minor third. Or we can do this with, how about a B7? B alt, B7 altered. Okay, I'm just adding a little bit of chromaticism, and we have a basic triad with one extra note. That's it, and then I'm just sprinkling a little chromaticism around it, and all of a sudden we have, like, you know, pretty hip little phrases. I'm not using any scales. I'm not thinking about melodic minor. Yes, it's related to melodic minor, but I'm not really concerned about that because I'm looking for something a little bit more specific and detailed. We can get in and we can add other pitches, other diatonic pitches to make it a little more melodic minor-y, but at this point, I don't really think that that's all that necessary. Movements. I'm telling you guys, intervals are great. I'm not saying never sing intervals or practice intervals again. This should be part of your ear training, though. It's like physical body ear training. It's learning to feel emotion inside of these notes, not emotions that I'm making up, emotions that are already there if you just listen to music and think about like the plot of a story. Right? Like think about, like, watch Gladiator. That's a good movie where we hear the tension flat six, and it's a perfect example of the plot I'm talking about. Dude got totally screwed over, right? Family killed, thrown in jail, sold into slavery, forced to fight in, you know, these big gladiator arenas for entertainment, and dedicates the rest of his life not just to seeking revenge, but to doing it in front of the entire society. Like, he wanted everybody to see him take whatever that dude's name was, the leader. I forget what his name was in the movie, but like, it's the perfect example of this, or Batman, which is why I call it the Batman note. Miles, I'm in the coffee shop and people are looking at me like I'm some crazy homeless guy. Love it. Andrew, what's up? Sisku, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Good to see you on here. For those of you watching this who dig these lessons and are not part of our study group, if you're looking for a more kind of baby step, logical, process-oriented way of understanding all these ideas I'm talking about and how they all connect, definitely check out our study group. There's courses that are laid out in much more realistic terms in terms of how to practically break things down and absorb them. Like specific practices, it's very difficult when I only have 20 or 30 minutes for a specific topic once a week versus when I can sit down and say, here's a course on this one topic. Let's dig into it for a couple hours, right? And you can do it in a self-paced way. So check those out. Hit me with questions in the comments if you got them. I'm here to help if I can, whether you're in the study group or not. I will be back tomorrow. We'll do some playing with this. We'll apply this over some 251s, some tunes. We'll think of something fun to do with this Batman note. But for now, go listen to the Batman soundtrack. Go listen to 8 Mile. Go listen to, what was it, Spock something? I'll have to scroll back down and find that comment, Gary. I'm going to go check that out. Do your body movements. Sing these notes. If you're open to the idea of trying solfege, this is lay. L-E. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. When you flatten solfege, that la becomes lay. Lay, sol, do. There's something very powerful about solfege. I know it's not the hippest thing to talk about and work on in the jazz world. I used to think so. And then I was forced to study solfege, and there is something extremely powerful about the syllables, and especially if you combine them with body movements and sing through them, it can really open your ears to hearing the emotion inside of notes, so that we're not just stuck running geometric patterns, we're not just stuck regurgitating riffs and arpeggios and running around in scale sequences that everybody's practiced 1,000 times. We're just feeling emotion internally and expressing it with certain notes, okay? Again, hit me with questions in the comments if you got them. We'll be back tomorrow for another lesson, number 38. Can't believe we're nearing 40 already. And until then, happy practicing. Hey YouTube, it's Jordan Clemens with NYC Jazz Guitar Master Classes and the Melodic Triad Study Group. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I have a ton of content coming out on YouTube this year. We've been doing daily jazz guitar lessons, so I'm going to be posting videos like this pretty much every day. So if you dug this and you want to follow me, subscribe and make sure that you turn on notifications so that you can watch more videos like this. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you in the comment section. Hope to see you in the next video.